Well, we're hoping for at least 80 more today.
That'd be good.
I still had several people that were not happy that they couldn't make any of the 3 nights that we've chosen.
Gosh, yeah.
So it's never going to be perfect.
No.
Good work, 93, all right.
Jeepers.
Hey, that works.
Yeah.
One more. Come on, one more.
Get 100.
One more. Come on.
One more. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, we're at 100, so we're going to start, I think. We're at 100 attendees. That's really good. Hey, I want to welcome everyone to our last clinic of the year. Thanks for popping on. Again, we've had over 100 people online tonight. That's fantastic. Before we get started, just a couple things. You will not be able to, everyone that's viewing the clinic will not be able to chime in. You're all muted and you'll stay that way through the end. Through the end of the presentation. What we'll do is there is an avenue for you to ask questions on the Q&A. Craig Snyder will be answering those questions, and we'll have some pauses in between when we go from one section to the next where we may address those as well. The other thing is to keep everybody here, we'll give you all the information at the end of the meeting. I'll walk you through those steps that you need to do to get proper credit for viewing this. Now that we've gone through all of that, I'll go ahead and introduce Kathy Creighton. Kathy will be leading us through this. By the way, my name is Jason Esslinger. I'm the new softball administrator for the Girls Athletic Union. So far, like I said, this is our 3rd clinic of the year, and really appreciate everyone being able to watch this. And we'll have a tape of this at the end of the, sometime we'll have on our website also this week, and also the slides if there's things you want to go through again. But that being said, I'll go ahead and give the reins to Kathy, and she'll walk you through this.
Okay, as soon as Jason starts my PowerPoint, welcome umpires. Thank you for coming to our clinic. Hopefully we're a little bit better at it this time than we were the last couple of times. So we've got several things we want to go through with you here today. As soon as I get the PowerPoint. There we go. There we go. Here we go. 2021 Girls Athletic Union Softball Clinic. You've already been introduced to Jason. We have a panelist today on our presentation. I believe it's a little bit better if we have a lot of different people presenting and a lot of people involved in it, because it takes more than one person to run the softball program in Iowa. We'll introduce the panelists as they come along. So next. This is the things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about uniforms, illegal pitches, how to recognize, call, signal, and penalize them. We're going to talk about obstruction, interference, the look back rule. We have a presentation on coach and game management. We have 10 common things that can happen in a game and how to handle them. We're going to go over how we choose postseason umpires. And then along the way, we'll have some questions, and then we'll answer any questions that are left over at the end. First thing we want to talk about is uniforms. For our regular season, this is a picture of our new shirt with a varsity logo on it. So the powder blue shirt that you see here is the default shirt for varsity games. Okay, you may wear the navy blue shirts only if both partners agree, but I'm not going to make 600 umpires go out and buy a dark blue shirt. So if you want to check with your partner before the game, that would be best. We always wear gray pants. We always have a navy blue hat, navy blue ball bags, all black shoes and socks, and a black belt. The only thing we ask, you can wear plain shirts, even in varsity. We ask that no logos from other organizations be used during Iowa High School Girls Athletic Union softball play. This is the logo that is available for sale. This is for regular season play. The shirts may be the old logo, this new logo, or no logo. We prefer it that both partners match. We don't want to see black shirts, red shirts, or cream colored shirts. They belong in baseball. And we have some pink shirts out there that were used for postseason in past years. So we prefer that you do not wear them for regular season. Here's a picture of a high school shirt that had the old logo on it, and the umpire that has this just bought the patch. And you can see that the patch covers the old logo if you choose to go that way. The new logos will be required for postseason. You don't have to purchase a new shirt. The patch is available for $5 from Sherry at the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. The patch should be removed before you wash. This is a picture of another logo that is actually, it's on my hat. And this is another logo that is able to be worn. All of our hats are navy blue, no black. I know we used to have black shirts, but not anymore. The hats may have the old logo, the new logo, or no logo. And we prefer that the partners match. For postseason, the shirts must be powder blue, no navy, and they must have the new logo. So here's, again, that picture that you can buy the patch and put it over your old logo shirt. The hats must be navy blue, and they can have the old logo or the new one. There are no hats available to purchase right now with the new logo on it, so buy the logo and put it on your own hat. Your partner's shirts must match, and the partner's hats must match. So if you both wear plain hats, then you both have to have, that would be acceptable, is wearing both plain hats. The shirts and the hats don't need to match between each other, but each shirt and each hat needs to match. Just wear a logo. Pink shirts may be worn in postseason with the new patch. Here's an illustration of uniforms of umpires that are two umpires that are dressed alike. Their hats are both plain. Their shirts match. They have all black shoes. Their pants are not faded. They're all heather gray. And notice their stance. This is another thing I want to bring up about uniforms. They're standing tall. They're paying attention to what's going on. They're not yawning. They look like they're ready to play this game. And they're not wearing sunglasses when they talk to the coach. Here's another illustration of an umpire in action. It shows the umpire with a logoed shirt, the logoed hat. You can see the logos on there don't match each other, but they're still logoed items. Okay, this is an umpire in good position to see the tag, and you can also see the plain ball bags, plain dark blue ball bags. Okay, so after uniforms, we want to talk about illegal pitches. Our focus every year has been on calling and penalizing illegal pitches. So this year we're going to narrow it down just a little bit. So we're going to go over again how postseason umpires need to know how to recognize, call, signal, and penalize illegal pitches. To recognize an illegal pitch, you have to know what the rule is. Calling the pitch is pretty simple. Just verbalize illegal pitch. Oops, got to go back a little bit. There we go. Signal it, and you got to know the mechanics. We'll go over that. And to penalize it, again, you need to know the rules. Depending upon what happens with that illegal pitch, the rules will tell you how to penalize it. Next. We're going to focus this year on some common illegal pitches that I think we can clean up rather quickly. Now, everybody needs to be on board with this. because when it comes to postseason time, they will get called. So if they don't get called all year long and they come to postseason, then the coaches have an issue with umpires not calling it during the year. So some of these common illegal pitches are when the pitcher steps on the pitcher's plate with their hands already together, when the pitcher steps forward during the delivery, when the pitcher leaps, that means both feet are airborne. This is the most common one, we really, really want to work on this year, is when the pitcher steps on the pitcher's plate and brings their hands together before taking or simulating taking a signal from the catcher. This one's a really, really easy fix. It's easy for umpires to call because it's a jump umpire judgment, and it's easy to fix if you catch it first in the year. Another illegal pitch is starting with the pitcher's foot completely outside the width of the pitcher's plate. Another illegal pitch is not pitching within 20 seconds of receiving the ball back from the catcher. Now remember, when you're counting, 20 seconds is really a long time. So we don't see that often, but we do see it once in a while. A common illegal pitch that is very difficult to call, because we'll go over it a little bit later, is when the pitcher's stride foot lands outside the pitcher's plate width. These are the most common that we want to focus on this year. And there are other types of illegal pitches, and we'll go over some videos, and we'll go over the rules and the mechanics of how to do this. Next. Okay, first thing we got to do is we have to recognize the illegal pitch. So we've got 2 umpires at least on the field, and in postseason play, we have 2 base umpires and a plate umpire. So the base umpires have to concentrate on the pitcher's feet, okay? The pivot foot is the one that they push off with, needs to be in contact with the pitcher's plate. It can be on top, it can touch, it can be on the side, as long as it can be part way in the side. It just has to be in contact with the pitcher's plate. Okay, there's no stepping forward. So they step forward and then release the pitch from there. Leaping is a common illegal pitch. And a crow hop is another type of illegal pitch, and it's not common in girls and women's softball, but we'll go over that one a little bit too. So the base umpire needs to concentrate on what the pitcher's feet are doing. Now the plate umpire has a little bit more to do. The plate umpire concentrates on the pitcher's hands and a little bit of what they do with their feet as well. If the pitcher steps on the pitcher's plate with their hands together, it's an illegal pitch, and you would signal it right away. You signal the illegal pitch when it becomes illegal. The common one that we really want you to get this year is when they put their hands together before taking a signal. Another one is if they step on, they take a signal, they put their hands together, and they don't like the signal. So they take their hand out of their glove and go, I need a new signal. And then they put their hand back in the glove. That is an illegal pitch. Okay, we'll have a couple of examples of hands together twice. Now this is a difficult one to call, but it is also the plate umpire's job. This is the part where they concentrate on the feet. After the pitcher pushes off and starts the delivery of the pitch, the non-pivot foot, if it lands outside the chute, outside the width of the pitcher's plate, that is also an illegal pitch. That is a definite advantage to a pitcher. So that's the hard one to call because you're watching so many things as a plate umpire. But especially if the ball is out of the zone, you can see where the pitcher lands. There are other illegal pitches, and they're all in Rule 6. Okay, so now we know a little bit of the rules about calling the illegal pitches and which ones we want to concentrate on this year. So this year, we're going to talk also about how to signal and call the illegal pitch. So we signal the illegal pitch as illegal as soon as it becomes illegal. So if they step on the pitcher's plate with their hands together, it's illegal, and that's when you call it. If they step forward during the delivery, it's illegal, that's when you call it. If they step on the pitcher's plate and immediately put their hands together, it's illegal, and that's where you call it. The signal is as illustrated here. It's the left arm extended straight out and the hands in a fist. It's a delayed dead ball. I believe delayed dead ball is pretty much used this signal in a lot of different sports. So this is not new. The umpire needs to call illegal pitch loud enough for the nearby players to hear. So now you've recognized it, you called it, you signaled it, now we have to penalize it. So here comes the difficult part. Here's where we need to know the rule. The pitcher delivers the ball to the batter. If the batter hits the ball and there's runners on base, and in Rule 6.1, you declare the pitch illegal when it becomes illegal. You let the play complete. If the batter reaches at least one base and each other batter advances at least one base, the illegal pitch is canceled. If the batter does not reach first base or any other runner on base does not advance at least one base, the offensive coach has the option. And umpires, after you have an illegal pitch, you need to get together and go over these options and make sure you have it down in your head what you're going to say to the coaches. You're always going to give them the result of the play first. The result of the play is an out and the runner on second advances to third. That's an example. Or the penalty for the illegal pitch. Okay, and if the batter does not hit the ball and there are no runners on base, it's just a ball awarded to the batter. So the batter's standing there and you call illegal as a plate umpire because they put their hands together too soon and the batter doesn't swing at it. It's just a ball awarded to the batter, whether it comes through the strike zone or not. A couple of years ago, they changed the rule that no runners advance on an illegal pitch. And make sure after you have an illegal pitch that you give the ball and strike count, because it is, sometimes it's a no pitch and you would have to make sure that the scoreboard and all the players, especially the pitcher, needs to know what the count is. Okay, this is an extreme example. And granted, this is a men's fast pitch player, but this is a really good example of a leap. Okay, the hands are still together, but both feet are airborne. Likely after this one, there's going to be a crow hop, but this is an illegal pitch. Okay, we see a lot of leaping in girls and women's softball, but we see it more in men's. So this is what we want to concentrate on this year. Get the leap. That's an easy one to call. Next. Okay, this is a female player, and also this is a little less pronounced than the previous picture. But as you can see here, both the feet are off the ground. This is an illegal pitch, and because it's a leap. And this is all the only thing you had to do is tell the coach that, coach, she's leaping. And she has to drag the pivot foot. So you call it illegal as soon as you see both feet are airborne. Okay, next. Now Tom Berger and Pat Pasha put together some pitching videos that they will go over to help illustrate some of the things that we've been talking about as far as illegal pitching.
All right, thanks, Kathy. Before we get going on the videos, I want to thank the school that allowed us to come in and do these videos of their pitchers. The pitchers were all legal. When we got there, we had to show them how to be illegal for clinic purposes. So again, thank you to the school that allowed us to come in and shoot videos. And Jason, I think we're ready for video number 1.
Okay, this pitcher is throwing a legal pitch. Her feet are both on the pitcher's plate. So that is legal. Hands are apart. Okay, this pitcher is throwing a legal pitch. Her feet are both on the pitcher's plate. So that is legal. Hands are apart.
So this is obviously the view from the third base umpire. And as Kathy said earlier, that the third base umpire or first base umpire will be responsible for the feet of the pitcher. So that was the view from third base. And again, last year was the first year we allowed them not to be in contact with the pitcher's plate. Even though that girl was doing that, that is still legal in our rules today. All right, Jason.
The pitcher will start back in a legal pitching position and deliver the pitch. The pitcher will start back in a legal pitching position and deliver the pitch.
Okay, she's just starting with her non-pivot foot back. Again, that is now legal. She doesn't have to start with both of them on, and she does not have to actually step back, which that video will be coming up. So that was legal.
This pitcher is going to step onto the pitcher's plate legally, put her hands together, and then adjust her ponytail after her hands have come together. That is an illegal pitch. This pitcher is going to step onto the pitcher's plate legally, put her hands together, and then adjust her ponytail after her hands have come together. That is an illegal pitch.
So that is fairly common. They'll put the hands together and take one out to, as she did, adjust her ponytail or wipe sweat off of her face or do whatever. But that is illegal. We have to get it. And there is a video later in this presentation that shows how she can legally step off and adjust the ponytail.
The pitcher will now step back and throw the pitch. The pitcher will now step back and throw the pitch.
Okay, that was first legal last year in Iowa, went to the National Federation rule. So we've showed start with both feet on the pitcher's plate. We had a start back, and then that was just a video of the step back. So all three of those were legal.
This pitcher will demonstrate a legal pitch by having the ball in her glove. Her hands are apart when she steps on, and she's going to deliver a legal pitch. This pitcher will demonstrate a legal pitch by having the ball in her glove. Her hands are apart when she steps on, and she's going to deliver a legal pitch.
Probably 90% of pitchers start with the ball in their hand. I just wanted to show something different of that pitcher starting with the ball in her glove, which is also legal. She can start in one or the other, just cannot be, she can't have her hands together when she steps on, which I think we'll show a video of that later as well.
The pitcher is going to step onto the pitcher's plate, put her hands together, and then she decides she needs to adjust her ponytail. She will step off legally and adjust her ponytail. That is legal. The pitcher is going to step onto the pitcher's plate, put her hands together, and then she decides she needs to adjust her ponytail. She will step off legally and adjust her ponytail. That is legal.
Okay, as before, she stepped off before she adjusted the ponytail, removed herself from the pitching position, so that definitely was legal. She didn't stay on the pitching plate and then take her hand out of her glove, so that one definitely was legal.
This pitcher is going to, once she strides, step out of the chute with her left foot, therefore resulting in an illegal pitch. There are no lines on the field, so this is umpire judgment. This pitcher is going to, once she strides, step out of the chute with her left foot, therefore resulting in an illegal pitch. There are no lines on the field, so this is umpire judgment.
I'm not sure why I said it is umpire judgment, because most of these are umpire judgment, but I meant to say that we don't have the lines coming off of the pitcher's plate like some organizations do. So it is 100% umpire judgment on that. Something I like to do in warm-ups is take a look during warm-ups to see if that pitcher is getting close to the being outside of the 24-inch length, and that is then on my radar right away in warm-ups when I don't really have to call anything. So take a look during warm-ups and see how close she is, and then you can go from there.
The pitcher is going to demonstrate an illegal pitch. She steps on legally, puts her hands together, and then decides to adjust her ponytail, therefore taking the hand out of her glove. That is an illegal pitch. The pitcher is going to demonstrate an illegal pitch. She steps on legally, puts her hands together, and then decides to adjust her ponytail, therefore taking the hand out of her glove. That is an illegal pitch.
So same video as before. Pitcher takes the hand out of the glove after they came together to adjust the ponytail. She did not remove herself from the pitching position, so therefore we have an illegal pitch.
The coach is going to yell the pitch number again. The pitcher is going to step onto the pitcher's plate with her hands together. This is an illegal pitch because the pitcher steps on with her hands together. 421. Pitcher steps on, her hands are together. That is an illegal pitch. The coach is going to yell the pitch number again. The pitcher is going to step onto the pitcher's plate with her hands together. This is an illegal pitch because the pitcher steps on with her hands together. 421. Pitcher steps on, her hands are together. That is an illegal pitch.
So
The pitch number.
Plate umpire's call. Steps on with her hands together. Remember, the ball's got to be in the bare hand or in the glove hand. They cannot be together when she steps onto the pitching rubber. So plate umpire, get this, call it early, and get those hands separated.
The pitcher is now going to demonstrate an illegal pitch by stepping onto the pitcher's plate with her hands together. Therefore, we have an illegal pitch. The pitcher is now going to demonstrate an illegal pitch by stepping onto the pitcher's plate with her hands together. Therefore, we have an illegal pitch.
Same thing, different angle. Still illegal.
Pitcher is going to get her signal off of the pitching rubber from the catcher, step on, immediately put her hands together, and throw. This is an illegal pitch because the pitcher did not take a sign or simulate taking a sign. The umpire just called an illegal pitch. The coach is going to come out and talk to the umpire and explain what the pitcher did illegal.
Blue, what's she doing wrong?
Coach, she stepped onto the pitcher's plate and immediately put her hands together without pausing to simulate taking a sign or taking a sign. Therefore, we have an illegal pitch.
Okay, thank you.
Pitcher is going to get her signal off of the pitching rubber from the catcher, step on, immediately put her hands together, and throw. This is an illegal pitch because the pitcher did not take a sign or simulate taking a sign. The umpire just called an illegal pitch. The coach is going to come out and talk to the umpire and explain what the pitcher did illegal.
Blue, what's she doing wrong?
Coach, she stepped onto the pitcher's plate and immediately put her hands together without pausing to simulate taking a sign or taking a sign. Therefore, we have an illegal pitch.
Okay, thank you.
As I said in the first two meetings, don't we wish all discussions with coaches about illegal pitches were that simple. Tried to give the coach rule book terminology on what exactly that she was doing illegally. And the coach did take that. Hopefully he'll correct it. That, as Kathy said earlier, that was the most common illegal pitch that we're seeing pitchers violate throughout the year.
The pitcher is in legal pitching position. When she strides forward, she is going to step with her right foot or her pivot foot, therefore increasing her distance to home plate. This is an illegal pitch. The pitcher is in legal pitching position. When she strides forward, she is going to step with her right foot or her pivot foot, therefore increasing her distance to home plate. This is an illegal pitch.
Okay, during that, I should have said that she's decreasing her distance to home plate, not increasing. So again, if that foot goes forward, we need to call that. We don't say a lot of that, but we do say a little. So if we see that foot go forward, we definitely need to call that again. That's the base umpire's call. I think Craig Snyder said it pretty well a couple meetings ago. It's hard to call the feet when you're not looking at the feet. So make sure that we're looking at those feet to make sure that the pitchers are all legal.
Pitcher gets a signal from the catcher, steps on, puts her hands together. That is an illegal pitch. Pitcher gets a signal from the catcher, steps on, puts her hands together. That is an illegal pitch.
Again, that's the most common one that we see that isn't being called enough, and that's a huge advantage for pitchers. Gives them a lot of momentum heading to the plate, and it is definitely illegal. So we definitely need to get that called. I think we're on the last video now.
In this situation, the coach is going to yell a number for the pitch call. The pitcher is going to look at her wristband off the rubber, which is legal, and then pitch the ball. This will be a legal pitch.
424.
Looks at her wristband, steps on, hands are apart, and pitches. This is a legal pitch. In this situation, the coach is going to yell a number for the pitch call. The pitcher is going to look at her wristband off the rubber, which is legal, and then pitch the ball. This will be a legal pitch.
424.
Looks at her wristband, steps on, hands are apart, and pitches. This is a legal pitch. And
So more and more coaches are yelling the numbers from the dugout, and pitchers are looking at the wristband, which is legal. Just remember, when she does step onto the pitching plate, she still has to simulate taking a sign from the catcher or actually take another sign. That we just got to get them slowed down when they get on there, because they're getting that signal off, and they're gonna walk right through it, which is illegal. So make them stop and take another sign, or at least look like they're taking a sign. That's all the videos. Just remember, as a plate umpire, you do have more to do beside call balls and strikes and manage the lineup card. Again, the number one illegal pitch last year was because the plate umpire wasn't getting it. The pitcher stepping on and putting the hands together and just rolling right through the pitch. So let's make sure we get that. Remember, you're going to upset one team by calling it, and you're gonna make one team happy by. You're going to make sure you're going to upset a team by not calling it, and one team is going to be upset because you do call it. So obviously, somebody's going to be upset, but we definitely need to get those called. That's all I have.
We have some questions now, Craig.
I do have a few.
Okay.
Okay, going back to the uniform, a couple items. Yes, you may sew the patch on. If you have a seamstress that can sew the new patch on, that's fine. And somebody asked about sunglasses. Sunglasses are fine, but if you have to communicate with someone, a coach, a player, take the sunglasses off. No sunglasses at the pregame meeting like was on the slide there and that sort of thing. Just remember on the illegal pitch, it's a delayed dead ball signal. You verbalize it, and it will be a dead ball signal. It will be a dead ball if, say, the ball, when you verbalize illegal pitch and the pitcher stops in midstream, then you're going to kill it right there, and it's going to be a ball. But otherwise, it's a delayed dead ball, and let them pitch it. Now, it's a great offensive weapon. If the batter hears delayed dead ball, she should just go for a home run, because what she got to lose? Not much. So that's why it's a delayed dead ball. So don't take that away from them and call it early. The whole foot needs to be outside the chute to be an illegal pitch. So if it's close, it's going to be in. You have no line to judge, so it's going to have to really be out there, the foot, so that you know it's an illegal pitch. Between innings, you might see where that non-pivot foot's landing. If it's a foot outside, you know you got a problem. Very difficult to try and call a strike or ball and look at the foot. Trust me, I know exactly where you're coming from. It's hard. But we have some of them that are way out there and are way illegal, and we need to get them back inside. We have some umpires that think that calling illegal pitches is not an umpire's job. Calling the illegal pitch is the same as any other rule in the rule book. These are rules. Our job is to enforce the rules. These umpires think that's the coach's job. Yeah, it's the coach's job to coach them how to do it right. But if they're not doing it right, we have to penalize it. So it's only a ball now. Think back to the day where it was a ball and a base and the score was tied 2-2 in the bottom of the seventh. You had an illegal pitch with a runner on third and you called it and the game was over. Now it's just a ball. So the penalty is very minor compared to what it used to be. So I see there's a number more, but that's good for now, and we'll get some more when we get through this. Thanks. Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, one of the questions was if you have prescription glasses that get dark during the game, you don't have to take those off. We're talking about the regular sunglasses that you put on for the sun and then you take off for what? For anything else. If you got prescription glasses that are tinting for the sun, leave those off. We don't want you to take those off. Okay. So Craig will go through some of the rest of the questions and answer them here in a little bit. What we want to talk about now is obstruction. And again, it's umpire judgment, but it's part of our job is to help enforce the rules. So first we need to know the definition of obstruction. It's an act by the defense, okay? Hinders or impedes the batter attempting to hit a pitched ball, and sometimes this is called catcher interference. Obstruction can be intentional or unintentional. It can be physical or it could be verbal. Another part of obstruction is, and this is the more common one, when it's hindering or impeding the progress of a runner who is legally running the bases. Now there's exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rules, okay? If the progress of the runner is legally running the bases, they cannot run into the fielder if they're making a play on a batted ball or if the fielder has possession of the ball. So that's not obstruction anymore. Next. So the mechanics of obstruction. We got to know the rule. We got to know the mechanics of how to signal it. When obstruction is recognized by the umpire or the umpires, give the delayed dead ball signal. And we don't need to go over that again because we saw it a little bit earlier. It's the same delayed dead ball for the illegal pitch. But you let the play action finish. This is the important part. If the obstructed base runner is tagged out, the calling umpire now has dead ball, okay? Award the run to the base she would have gotten if there was no obstruction. If there are multiple runners on bases, all umpires must get together and help place the runners on the bases where they belong if the obstruction occurs. Next. Okay, I have some still photographs here. We're going to just kind of discuss obstruction. This could be obstruction too. The two players with the light colored shirts appear to be defensive players, and the one in the helmet is the runner. It appears to be a rundown, commonly called a pickle. We want you to make sure that you see the whole play before you make this call. I mean, obviously the runner ran into somebody, but what are we missing in this picture? We're missing the ball. We don't know who's got the ball. We don't know where the ball was hit. So this is just an example to help you see that you need to see the whole play. The ball coming off the bat, the fielder trying to make a play, the runner running into the fielder, the runner running into the ball. You need to see the whole play before you make the call. Okay, now this one's a little bit easier. This is a still photograph again of obstruction. It's a little bit blurry, but it gets the point across that I want to try to get across here. This is definitely obstruction. The catcher is either sitting on the plate or she's sitting in front of the plate between third and home. And as you can see her gloves out there, she is waiting for the ball. She does not have the ball in her possession. So this is definitely obstruction. Here's another one that is not obstruction. If you look close, our rule says that if the fielder has the ball, they can block the base. So if you look close at the glove, you can see that the ball is peeking out through the fingers there. So the fielder has the ball, she can block the base and tag the runner. This is not obstruction. A little bit of talk about common obstruction. We have no runners on base. There's a ball hit to the gap in the left field. So now the batter becomes a runner and she hustles down to first base. When she reaches first base, the first baseman is standing on the base. So the runner tries to round the base, but she's hindered by the first baseman. So we've just recognized by rule that this is obstruction. So we signal delay dead ball. We verbalize obstruction, just loud enough for the players and the coaches around you to hear. We let the play continue to the completion. If the action was simply the first baseman not paying attention, the coach just may come out and ask, well, what my first baseman do? And you tell the coach the first base can't be on the base without the ball. It's real simple in high school. If you have the ball, you can block the base or you can be on the base. If you don't have it, you can't. Next. It's another common obstruction. So we have bases loaded. We have a fly ball hit to the short center field for a base hit. All the runners are attempting to advance because it's a hit. The catcher removes her helmet and stands on third base. Oops, that didn't come out right. The catcher removes her helmet and stands on the third baseline waiting for the throw. Okay, the throw comes in, and before she catches it, the runner slides into her feet. So the catcher gets it, and the runner is not tagged in time. We have obstruction because she's in the baseline. The runner contacts the catcher before she catches the ball. So we have delayed dead ball, and we verbalize obstruction. We let the play continue until completion. So if she's tagged, it's dead ball. That's obstruction. She's awarded home. So use your hands. Dead ball, point. That's obstruction, and award the runner home. You can use your hands to make the signals. That tells everybody in the park what you just did. At the end of this play, if all the runners end up at the bases allowed, if there was no obstruction, there's no penalty. So that's our little talk about obstruction. Do we have any questions to answer on that, Craig?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Let's go back to pitching for one more time. Pitcher's on the pitching plate and the ball's in her pitching hand, and she flips the ball from her pitching hand to her glove, and she flips it back to her pitching hand, but her hands never come together. You might see some pitcher do this. That's legal because the pitch starts when? The pitch starts when the hands come together, so she hasn't started. She can't bring them together and change it from one to the other, but if she just flips it in the air, that's no problem. We had a question about a fake tag is considered obstruction. That's true. Okay, so what do we penalize? We penalize the base you thought they would have gotten if there had not been any obstruction. So normally it's probably going to be where that runner ends up. But if that tag makes that runner stop and you think they'd have gotten another base, that could be the penalty. Okay, a good question. That's it. Good. That's good.
Okay. Very good questions. Very good questions. We now have a little bit of talk about interference, which is kind of the opposite of obstruction. So again, we need to know the definition of interference. It's an act by the offense, okay, the batters and the runners, that legally impedes, hinders, or confuses any fielder. There doesn't have to be contact for there to be interference. The most common example that we see a lot, the ball hits the runner, the batted ball hits the runner when a fielder has a chance to make a play on that batted ball. The penalty on interference, the ball is dead, use your dead ball signal, and the runners return to the bases occupied at the time of the pitch. Now, the batter would be awarded first base after this. Okay, that's one thing I should have put in this PowerPoint. Next. Okay, now this is a video example, and it's a rather extreme example, but we're seeing more and more of this in our softball game. So watch the play here. Okay, so she's legally running the bases, right? But also the defense is standing there waiting to catch the ball. Okay, in this particular case, she is making a play on a batted ball. The first baseman is making a play on a batted ball, and the runner who, yes, she's legally running the bases, but she runs in and runs over. Let's go back to that video example. We'll probably show it one more time, please. She runs in and runs over the first baseman. Okay, in this particular case, we're going to have dead ball, point to the runner, runner's out for interference, and then that. This is a malicious contact here. You're going to eject that player. And as you can see, I don't think there's any doubt that this player needs to be ejected. Again, this is an extreme example. We're probably not going to see a lot of this, but I want you to be prepared if we do see this in our game, because our game's changed over the past 30 years. There's a lot more of this now than there ever was when I played or when I first started umpiring. So we have to be prepared for this type of play. Okay. Yep. Go back one, please. Okay. In this situation, the runner is out or ejected. Oh, I already said that, didn't I? Okay, that's the other point I wanted to make here. In this particular case, the runner ran over the first baseman and she's flat out on the ground. Okay, to prevent anything further, umpire needs to step right up to there. First of all, you're going to make sure that nothing else happens. There's no retaliation from any of the players. This is part of our game management. So umpires step in and stop things. There's no other play because the ball is dead. You can award runners later, but just here, make your presence be known that nothing else is going to come from this play. Thanks, Jason. Okay, again, this is a still photograph. This is likely interference. As you can see, the defensive players in blue and the offensive player, the runner, in black. And you can see the ball that hit her in the left foot as the second baseman is trying to make a play. So we want to make sure that you know that you see the entire play, assuming this is a batted ball and not a thrown ball, and it hits the runner before the fielder has a chance to make a play. You're going to have dead ball, point to the runner, that's interference, runner's out. Use the signals. This is good communication to everybody. Dead ball, that's interference, runner's out. Another still photograph. Again, we don't know whether this is a thrown or a batted ball. So is this interference? It didn't hit the runner, but did the runner keep the fielder from making a play? This is entirely umpire judgment. Okay, so you'd have to see the whole play, make your judgment, and if it is interference, call a dead ball and award bases if needed. The coaches cannot argue our umpire judgment. Another still photograph. Again, we don't have the ball here. Is this interference? Did the ball hit the runner? Was the ball even hit to this fielder? We don't know because we don't have the ball in this picture. Again, it's entirely umpire judgment, and the coaches can't umpire our judgment. Look at this photograph again. No ball. There's definitely contact here. So umpires, you need to make a judgment on whether this is obstruction or interference. So let's go over a couple of common interference examples. Okay, we start out with a runner on second base. There's a ground ball hit to the shortstop. So the runner starts moving towards third, even so she doesn't have to. The ball hits the runner before the shortstop has the chance to make a play. The ball is dead. Runner's out. That's interference. Okay. Award the batter first base. Make sure you do signals, point to the runner, and verbalize. Another common interference example would be with no runners on. There's a ground ball hit to the first baseman near the foul line. The first baseman tries to tag the runner, and the runner steps back to avoid the tag. This is a form of interference. Again, you're going to signal with two hands up, dead ball, not like this, more like a touchdown signal, dead ball, point to the runner step back, runner's out. Obstruction versus interference. I had this wrong on the first one, but we got it right now. Obstruction is always on the defense, and it's always a delayed dead ball. You have to let the play continue until the obstructed runner is tagged out or the play is finished, and then you decide what to do after that. Make sure you signal with your left hand straight out with a fist, and you verbalize obstruction. Interference is on the offense. Again, that's always a dead ball. You point to the runner or batter and verbalize, that's interference, that's an out. We would prefer to say that's an out instead of she's out. That makes it less personal. So try to work that into your game to say that's an out instead of she's out. Okay. That's all we have on interference. Do we have any questions, Craig?
We do. We'll have some more when we get done with these, but for now, let's talk about a pickoff play at first. And the girl playing first blocks that runner from getting back from the throw from the catcher. Now the question was, where's the runner? What base does she get, first or second? Well, in the rule that we have today, she gets the base you thought she would have gotten, which if she's going back into first would be first. So the defensive team doesn't have much to lose trying to pick a girl off of first, because they're only going to get the base that they were going to get. And if they're diving back into first, that's probably first. So it's very important that you don't let the girl playing first block that base without the ball, so that girl can't get back in there, and you end up calling her out. It's your job to protect her, because they don't have much to lose other than she gets to stay there. But if you don't call it, I might get an out. Had a question about how can you have interference if you have no contact? Well, just a couple examples would be runner on second, it's going to third, and she throws her hands up in the air at the shortstop as she's going by in her face, just to try and throw her off. That'd be one example. Another example, as she's going by, if she yells something at her, that sort of thing. So those are a couple things where you could have interference with no contact. Another thing we need to watch is obstruction when people are running the bases. The good coaches are going to put the girl at first and the girl at third on that inside corner of the base where that runner wants to hit and push off of. Don't let them block the base. That could be 2 steps if they run around the girl. So that's your job, to make sure that you're watching that they don't block the base and make the runner run around. 2 steps could mean safer out at home, safer out at second. That's obstruction. And if you're not going to call it, I'll tell you what's going to happen. The coach is going to say, okay, if he's going to let him block it, what's going to happen? Run right over him. Then you're going to have to call something, and then you might have a real mess. Because then you got to decide, you got malicious contact, or is she just in the road? So if you take care of those things ahead of time, that's a good thing, where if you're working the bases before the game starts, you might want to walk around to each of the infielders and say, now make sure you don't block the base without the ball. It's called preventative officiating. Let them know that you're thinking about them blocking the base and they haven't even started, so that you put the seed in their mind. Okay, that's good for now.
One of the other things I think about before we do this look back rule, when I talk about interference, the rule says any act that confuses the fielder. Are you really going to make 2 14-year-old girls run into each other to make your call easier? No. If it's interference, it's your judgment. Okay. Now don't make little tiny bits of contact. I mean, it really has to be interference, but don't make them crash into each other to make your call easier. Okay. So okay, let's talk about the look back rule. This is another common one that we want to try to clean up. I mean, if we get it early in the season, then it won't be a problem when postseason comes around. So we need to know the rule. This one's a little bit more complicated than the other ones. The look back rule is in effect when the ball is live, the batter runner has touched first base or has been declared out, and the pitcher has possession of the ball within the pitcher's circle. So there has to be 3 things. The ball is live, batter runner has touched first base or is out, and the pitcher has possession of the ball within the pitcher's circle. So there's a lot of things that have to happen before this look back rule goes into effect. So the runner may stop once, but then must immediately return to the base or attempt to advance to the next base. Now you've got some examples coming up here. Once the runner stops at first base for any reason, she will be declared out if she leaves the base. This is on the base, okay? Responsibilities of a batter runner after completing a turn at bat and while the pitcher has the ball within the 16-foot pitching circle, including a base on balls or a walk or a drop third strike, are as follows. A batter runner who rounds first base towards second base may stop, but then must immediately, without stopping, return to first or attempt to advance to second. We're going to go over an example here. Okay, we see the double base at first base, and the dotted green line is the runner. And you see she passes first base. She just rounds it. She can touch either base. She rounds it and she stops. Okay. She must return to first or now she can go to second base. In other words, she gets one stop. Then she has to make up her mind, go to second or come back to first. Next one, a batter runner who overruns first base towards right field, turns left, and immediately stops, must then return nonstop to first or attempt to advance to second. Okay, this one, the batter runner overruns the base. She's running out towards right field, and she turns around, and she's still kind of within that baseline a little bit. She turns left and stops. Now she has a choice to go to first base or attempt to advance to second base without stopping. A batter runner who overruns first base towards right field, turns left, and moves directly towards second base and stops is now committed to second base and must attempt to advance nonstop to second base. Okay, so the batter runner overruns first base towards right field, turns and moves towards second base. Now see the difference between this slide and the last one? She is moving towards second base. She's got her one stop here. But because she made this kind of a turn, next one, she is committed to second base and must attempt to advance to second base without stopping. Okay, now there's only a little bit of a difference between that last slide and this slide, but that's what that's your job as an umpire. You have to make that determination. Okay, I guarantee you, if you call this early in the game and early in the season, that the coaches will fix it. A batter runner who overruns first base towards right field, turns left, and moves back towards the infield in any direction except directly towards second base is committed to first and must return to first. So here, again, the dotted green line is the batter. She overruns out towards the field, and she comes back. There's, again, only a slight difference of where she stops here. She must return to first base. Okay, see, the overrunning makes a big difference in this look back rule. If she overruns, she has to make a decision. If she just rounds, it's a little bit different than overrunning. A batter runner who overruns first base towards right field, turns right, is committed to first base and must return to first base. Okay, we're missing the foul line in this one, but that's okay. We know where it should be. Again, the dotted green line is where the runner is. She's overrun first base and she turns right. She has to come back to first because of the way she turned and the place where she stopped. Okay, she cannot turn right and then go to second base. Maybe in some other kinds of softball, but not in high school. So the penalty for the violation of the look back rule, the ball is dead, a no pitch is declared when applicable, and the runner is out. If you have two runners or more that are off their bases, when one is called out, the ball is dead and the other runners are returned to the last base that's touched. You can't call more than one runner out. I know we wish we could get 2 outs on a look back, but we can't. We can only call one runner out on the look back rule. And of course, there's an exception. A runner will not be declared out if a play is made on her or another runner and a fake throw is considered a play, or the pitcher no longer has possession of the ball within the 16-foot circle, or the pitcher releases the ball on a pitch to the batter. Now, the last one should never happen. Okay, everything should stop and you make sure all the runners go back to the bases before you ever allow her to pitch again. But the second one, the pitcher no longer has possession of the ball within the 16-foot circle. She has possession of the ball and there is 1 foot completely outside the circle on the ground. She is out of the pitching circle and there's no look back rule. Okay, so that's the exception. That's the one we see the most often. Okay, a common look back situation. There's a runner on second. Batter hits a ground ball up the middle for a base hit. The batter reaches first base safely. He turns once and returns to the base. The runner at second advances to third, and she stops standing on the base. After both runners reach their base safely, the pitcher has the ball in the circle. Now the runner at third base decides to lead off. Pitcher's not looking at her. The pitcher's not making a play on her. The pitcher's in the circle. The runner at third is out. Dead ball. Runner's out. Look back rule. Another common look back situation. There's a runner on third base. Batter receives ball 4. She trots slowly down the first baseline. And the runner on third takes a few steps off the base and she's looking at the pitcher to see what she's going to do. The pitcher has the ball in the circle, but she's not looking at either runner, so she's not going to make a play on him. The runner is not out yet. Okay. What was one of the things that we have to have for a look back situation? The batter runner has to touch first base or be declared out. Once the batter has reached first base, the runner at third must make a decision. She needs to either go home or go back to third base. If not, she's out by the look back rule.
Kathy, that last play you had posted up there was the one that I was talking about the other night that I pregame every game with my partner. If we do have a runner on third and there is a walk, plate umpire definitely needs to pick up the runner at third while the base umpire picks up the batter runner. You can't expect the base umpire to watch both runners. So plate pick up the runner at third, base picks up the batter runner. If you're working with me and I'm in the field as the base umpire, I'm probably going to take off running over between first and second. So you know that I have given up a look at third base.
That's a good point, Tom. You can tell your umpire partner what you're doing by your body language and your body movements. So if the base umpire, there's a runner on second, and she starts out and the umpire starts out behind the shortstop and there's a walk. So you just walk towards first base. So your partner knows that, hey, I've got this runner that's getting ready to touch first base. That means the other umpire, the plate umpire, needs to take the third base runner. So good point, Tom. Do you have any questions on that, Craig?
I do. Can't keep up. Here's a couple. So you have a runner on second, and this is judgment. I mean, interference and obstruction are the hardest calls you're going to have to make, and it comes down to judgment. And I'm not going to argue, I guess, but if you have a runner on second, you have a ground ball that's short. And the shortstop pauses because the runner's in front of her going from second to third. If I'm umpiring, I feel that runner has a right to run from second to third. The shortstop needs to make the play. If she sits back there and doesn't make the play, that's on her, not on the runner. That's really you don't know whether she was or she wasn't. If she goes and makes the play and there's a collision, that's easy. That's coaching. So that's how I'm going to look at it. If somebody doesn't agree or they call it different, that's fine. But that would be the criteria I'd use to make that play. Then we had the question about a ball tipped by a pitcher that deflects off and hits the runner. Here again, you got judgment, but rule 886, okay? 886 says a runner is not out if a runner is hit with a fair batted ball after it touches or is touched by any fielder, including the pitcher, and the runner could not avoid contact with the ball. So that's why you get the big bucks to decide whether she could or she couldn't avoid contact with the ball. But that's the answer to that one. Somebody asked about a collision at home and somebody didn't slide. Well, who has the ball. Let's say the catcher has the ball, then that runner that's coming home, she doesn't have to slide, but she better not run over. She better not run over. If you have malicious contact, that supersedes everything. You're out and out. Okay. Now, if the catcher doesn't have the ball, then it goes on the catcher. She can't block the base without the ball. Okay. A good question here, and you get this right on the test if you haven't already taken. Runner interference. If a running lane violation with a batter running from home to first and does not take the running lane, then the catcher throws to first and the ball hits the runner, not in the running lane. If she's not in the running lane, it's dead and she's out. But remember, the running lane starts at 30 feet. So let's say it's a bunt. The catcher picks the ball up and she's up and she's inside the baseline and she gets drilled in the back at 20 feet. You have nothing. You have nothing. Okay. That one's on the test about before the running lane starts. That's why you need to make sure your field's properly marked, that thing starts where it's supposed to. Okay. I'll try and keep catching up, but that's good for now.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Craig. It looks like we got a lot of questions tonight, a lot of participants. This is great. So let Mike Crozier talk now about coach and game management.
Thanks, Kathy, and thanks all the participants tonight for getting on and watching our rules meeting. That's awesome to see 134 participants tonight. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about game management and dealing with coaches. 4 things to keep in mind. Always be professional. As Craig just reminded you, you're making the big bucks. And of course, he's just joking, but you are getting paid for doing this. And so, you are a professional. First thing you can do to give that first impression and being professional is make sure your uniform is clean and fits well and is in accordance to the guidelines that Kathy talked about earlier in the meeting. You want to email your partner, the coach and AD, and or just whoever's down as on for context, 3 to 7 days before your game. Confirm the game time and let them know or ask them or give them a number so if they have any changes, they can get a hold of you right away. Arrive 45 minutes to an hour before game time and check in with the coach or the AD. You don't need to go up there and have a long discussion with them. Just say, hey, I'm here. My partner and I are here, or I'm here. My partner's, will be here shortly. Then that eases them from knowing or thinking, man, are the umpires going to show up tonight or not? But get there at a minimum of 45 minutes before game time. You can't properly have your pregame and be ready to umpire unless you get there early enough to the game. Always be approachable and treat your umpiring as a job. You are getting paid for it. The pregame. So let the coaches know that you want to do the pregame before the introductions. Get that thing out of the way before they do introductions, and then everybody's fired up and ready to play. And then it just seems like you're in the way then doing your pregame. Keep it simple and only talk about things that are pertinent to the game, and keep it short. It shouldn't last very long at all. Okay, so at the pregame, you're going to introduce yourself and let your partner introduce theirself. Ask the coaches for the lineup cards. Look over the lineup cards. Excuse me. Ask the coaches if their players are legally equipped and properly attired. And then check the lineup cards for the following: number of players in the starting lineup. Make sure all 9 or 10 positions are listed, so everybody's in the right position. And then the names and numbers are complete and subs are listed on the lineup card. That's what you need to check on those lineup cards. Okay, so we've got that done. Hand them back to the coach. Have them look over one last time. They'll give it back to you. And then tell them that they're now official and ask them if they have any changes at this time. Sometimes they'll use that flex. flex position to keep a good hitter in the lineup if they have to pull somebody out. So they may make that change. If they do, ask the other coach, say, hey, you got that change? And you go on. Go over the ground rules. Make clarifications to the ground rules if needed. If there's a question on, well, how's this or how's that going to happen? And make sure everybody knows before you get done with that pregame meeting exactly what the ground rules are. And then another thing that two other things I'd like to say tell the coaches before we break the pregame meeting is, number one, if you have a question during a game, make sure the ball's dead and then come out and ask the umpire that made the call. Now they already know, don't come out on the field unless the ball is dead. And then I also like to tell them, hey, don't throw foul balls in, or please, be nice about it and say, please don't bring in foul balls during the game. I'll refill my bag at the half inning. And then if you're not, if you run out during that half inning, then yeah, you'll have to go over. But we'll talk about that a little later about keeping the game moving. So then when you're done with that stuff, wish the coaches good luck and get them started. Communicating during the game. Only talk to coaches and players when there's a reason. If you're chatting it up with players or coaches, it has nothing to do with the game. There's no reason for it. It's unprofessional. And the coach is thinking, well, why is he always talking? If it's their player, what's he saying to him? Or why is she talking to my player out there? That's not their job. And then you have the other coach thinking, well, why is he always talking to the other coach? What's going on that I don't know about? So only talk to him when you have a reason. Take every advantage to be professionally polite when possible. Things like when foul balls come back in, thank you. When lineup changes are made, thanks, coach. And I always read lineup changes back to him. He says, hey, I'd like to put in number 30 for 10. I'll find that 30 as a sub and I'll say 30 for 10, right? Yeah, okay, then we're going on. Same thing on a re-entry. Re-enter 22, yeah, re-enter 22. Saying it back to them reminds them that you did what they asked you to do. Dealing with coaches during the game. Again, go back to the pregame meeting. If they have a question, wait till the ball's dead. Come talk to the umpire that made the call. If they come out during a live ball, put that stop sign up, say, wait, whoa, and don't stop it until that ball's in a circle and all your base runners are locked on. That's when we can stop play. Okay. If you're missing a piece of the play, ask your partner. And if you need to do that, so coach comes out, says, hey, Blue, I think that that girl pulled her foot at first base. Well, who should they be asking that question to? The base umpire, because that's their call, right? So you direct them to the base umpire. Base umpire may think that, may be very positive that no, she didn't pull her foot, and I'm going to stay with this call. Usually on a pulled foot, you want to go ask. So you ask your partner, and when you're talking, keep the coaches out of it. Make it simple. Ask what you're missing. Don't ask. All you have to do is, did she still have her foot on the bag when she caught the ball? It's not a, hey, do you think she was out or safe? Do you think she pulled her foot and she was safe? Ask them ask your partner the specific question you need answered. And then once you break that meeting between the umpires, the person that originally made the call is either going to stick with the call if they had an out, they're going to give an out signal. If they're going to change the call, they're going to look over at the coach and give a safe signal. So, but what's important there is the umpire that made the call stays with it or reverses it. You may need to go to each coach and explain why you changed it, or why you. Usually, you don't have to explain much if you didn't change anything. But if you do make a change of what you had, excuse me, you may have to go to the coach and tell them exactly why you're changing a call or what's happening. If a coach is out of line, give him a warning. And then if needed, you can stick him in the dugout or you can eject. Do not, and I say do not let coaches argue balls and strikes. And if they're asking you repeatedly, where's that at? Where's that at? Where's that at? Are they arguing balls and strikes? If it gets to be annoying and irritating, or yeah, because they're not, if they have to ask you where it's at, they're not agreeing with what you called it a ball or a strike. If they continue to do it. Now, sometimes they might want to say, if that's outside, I'm going to tell my pitcher to move it in a little bit or whatever. But a little secret on that, coaches can see up and down. So if they're asking where it's at, it's usually going to be inside, in or out, right? They can see where it's up and down. So if you tell them that ball was low, they're coming after you. I can see that from the dugout. Don't put yourself in that position. So here's what I do when a coach argues balls and strikes. I'll call time, throw my hands up, call time. I'll pull my lineup card out, walk over to the dugout, say, Coach, as I'm writing it down, Coach, that's a warning for arguing balls and strikes. Okay. And usually that will make them stop. If they don't, right away, you can restrict them to the dugout or you can eject them if they continue to do it. Same thing on any other judgment calls. Sometimes we miss a call, don't we? Sometimes we make a call, and as soon as it happens, we didn't take enough time to think about it, run it through your head one more time before you made the call, and you just know you flat out missed it. You can't overturn it at that point, can you? It's already been done. Your credibility goes out the window if you say, oh no, I missed that, I'm going to turn it over. Can't do that. So sometimes there's a place where the coach comes out, you missed the call, they're going to chew on you for a while. Go, let them have their piece, but don't go too far. Don't let them go too far. If you listen to them just a little bit, they're going to feel better than just, you were wrong and then you put up a fence. That's tough for them. So if it happens, you take it a little bit and then go on, but don't let them get out of hand. After the game, get off the field without going through the players and the coaches. You may want to say, hey, talk about your exit point in your pregame. Don't go through the dugout while the players are in there. Stay away from the players. Again, be professional. Don't talk about your game that you just did on your walk to the car. There's always somebody listening to you wherever you're at. So you want to make sure you're back to your car where nobody else is around and you can talk about whatever you need to in the game. And you should break down the game. Nobody has a perfect game. Nobody has a game where everything went right. We're all out of position maybe one time or maybe there was a better position to get into. Talk about those things and make yourself a better umpire. So once you get out to the car, that's the time for the post-game discussion. Tips for keeping the game moving. You, as the umpire, can do this without being the guy that says, come on, hustle in, hustle out, keep them in. Because that gives the coaches the impression that you don't want to be there, that you want to get this thing over, take your money and go home. So number one thing you can do is wear 2 ball bags and carry 4 extra balls. Go to the coach before the game and say, Coach, okay, so each pitcher is going to have one, right? So the visiting pitcher is going to have that ball. So we know we've got 2 in the game. Say, Coach, can I get 3 extra balls? They don't have to be new ones. Just give me 3 good ones that we can use in this game. So carry 4 in your bag, in your 2 bags, and 1 in the game. If they're throwing them back in and you have some of your ball bag, ask them to wait to the half inning. How many times do you see that happen in a game and it just slows it down? Because you have to wait, get the ball, or maybe it's thrown into the catcher, and then it gives to you. Now we got to reset. Okay. Just tell them to hold on to it. Okay. Let the catcher know the first inning that they'll get 5 pitches or 1 minute between innings. Okay, so count the pitches in between innings and don't let them throw number 6. When she gets to 4, take those, a lot of times she knows she's just gonna throw it down. But if, you're not sure, tell them, hey, if she's throwing 4 pitches, take the next one down. If you get to where it's already been 45 seconds, you're going to tell the catcher, catch, take the next one down. So once the ball is thrown down to second base, I always call for the batter. So the ball goes down, I'll say batter, or we're ready, batter, come on, something. So they're coming up to the plate, and by the time the defense gets out of their little huddle and does their little hand slapping and all that, you're ready to go. The batter's in the box. We don't have to wait for them now to walk up to the field or up to the plate and get the inning started. And God forbid, partner, we should never be waiting on you on the bases to be ready to start the inning. Okay, get out there. Get out there. You know where you're supposed to be positioned in between half innings. When the ball goes down to second base, get over and get in your position. There's nothing more irritating than you're still talking to somebody, which you're not supposed to be doing anyway. And then we're waiting on you to get into position when we're ready to go. Okay. So those things can keep your game moving, and you'll be surprised how much faster you'll get done just by doing those things. And you've done nothing to be rude or make the coaches feel like you're pushing them to get their game over. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Now we've got some common games that do we have some questions first, Craig? I'm sorry.
Well, let's try and catch up here a little bit.
Okay.
Just to go with what Mike said about balls and strikes, that's why it's important when you're taking the warm-up pitches, try and get the catcher on your side. Try and get that catcher that you're going to give her all the strikes you can get. And if she has a question, ask you. And then if the coach asks where a pitch was and she goes, it's outside, he probably won't ask again. Because if you can get them on your side so that they're not against you, things will go a lot better, that they'll tell the coach exactly where the pitch was. And maybe you missed it, but get the catcher on your side. Somebody wanted to know how much time do they get to either go back to the base or go to the next base on the look back rule. The rule says immediately. So here again, immediately, to me, that means now. You either go back or you go immediately. Then we had a question about a runner on third and a walk. The batter runner touches first, pitcher has the ball in the circle, all awarded bases, and the girl at third is 1 step off the base. Well, once all those things, the look back rules in play, that look back rule is for the runner on third, just as well as the batter runner going to first. So if that pitcher does nothing to make a play or feint a play, that runner on third immediately goes back to third or goes home. If she just stands there, she's going to be out. Immediately, she goes back or goes home, the same as the batter runner on the walk. That's why you better have communication as far as plate umpire watching what's happening on third. The biggest question I got, and Kathy's going to hit this later, but I'm going to tell you the answer right now so you don't have to ask again. The umpires this year will take care of the balls as far as foul balls. They aren't going to come from the dugout. Okay. So that's a good thing. And so it won't be like last year. You'll take care of the balls just like we've done in the past. Somebody wanted to know about interference when you might have a double play on an interference call. Well, my best example would be you got a girl playing second that's about right on the line between first and second. You got a runner on first. You got a one hopper to the girl at second. She tags the runner and that runner runs into her. Chances are real good they'd have gotten a double play. So it becomes, if in your judgment you think they'd have gotten a double play, you could call the out at first. But otherwise, it's your judgment. So If you think they can turn a short to second to first double play and you've got a interference, somebody going into second, you better they must be really good at turning it. So, okay, that's good for now.
Thanks, Craig. Now
Thanks,
we're
Craig.
going to turn it over to Jim Doyle. He's going to go over 10 common game situations and how to handle them.
Thanks, Kathy. First one I want to mention is the batter stepping completely out of the batter's box when swinging and making contact with the pitch. Make sure you know where her foot is, whether she's on the line, partially on the line, or whether that foot is completely out of the box. If she's completely out of the box when making contact with the pitch, she is out. Next thing is the batter swings, makes contact with the ball, and it hits her in the mask or the helmet. This is a dead ball. It's no different than if it goes off her foot or her leg. It's just a dead ball. It's a foul ball. This is a good one. A bunted ball that is fair. When that ball rolls out in front of the plate and the bat is also out in front of the plate or on the ground, you've got a choice to make. Did the ball hit the bat or the bat hit the ball? If the ball hits the bat, it's a live ball and you play on. If the bat hits the ball, it's a dead ball and the batter is out. Runners return to the last base occupied at the time of the pitch. This was mentioned a little bit ago, the batter in the running lane. A runner is considered outside the lane if either foot is completely outside the lane and in contact with the ground. But like Craig already mentioned, make sure you're well aware of when that running lane starts, and that is up to the plate umpire to trail that batter runner down the lane, and you are responsible for watching her feet. So if she's out of the lane, gets hit, she's out. Catcher obstruction on a swing. The batter swings at the pitch and she hits the catcher's glove. It's a delayed dead ball. If the batter hits the ball and reaches base safely and all other runners advance at least one base, the catcher obstruction is canceled. All action stands and no option is given to the coach. Otherwise, the coach has the option to take the result of the play or have the obstruction enforced by awarding the batter first base. All other runners advance only if they are forced up. If this happens with a batter, if this happens with a runner on second base only, that runner stays at second base because she's not forced up. Base runner leaving early on the pitch. It's no pitch. The runner is out. Make sure you throw both hands up in the air. Be loud, be vocal. No pitch. The runner is out. Courtesy runners. The same player can't run for both the pitcher and the catcher. The courtesy runner also is not considered a sub and has not entered the game. The courtesy runner can't run for the pitcher or catcher and enter the game as the sub in the same inning. And also remember, when the coach comes out and reports that courtesy runner to you, make sure you take the time, record it on your lineup card. Don't wait till the next half inning to do it. You could get involved in a long inning, you might get distracted. Just take a few seconds and make sure you get it recorded. A thrown ball that goes out of play. Remember, this is 2 bases from the time of the throw. It's the time of the release. And then just a couple things that Kathy mentioned earlier as well. Obstruction is a delayed dead ball. If the obstructed runner and all other runners hindered by the obstruction don't reach the bases they otherwise would have reached, you award the runner or runners such bases. An obstructed runner may not be called out between the 2 bases where she was obstructed. Interference. It's a dead ball. Each other runner must return to the last base touched at the time of the pitch. When a runner is called out for interference, the batter runner is awarded first base.
Okay, do we have any questions here, Craig?
Yeah, I got just one and we'll be pretty caught up here, I think.
Okay,
Somebody asked about what if there's no catcher between innings to warm up the pitcher? Well, that's not on you. So once she gets out there, if you want to give her one and throw it down, fine. You probably don't have to give her any if you want, but I'd probably give her one. And if they want to say something about it, just tell them, hey, it's 1 minute, 5 pitches, whichever comes first. And if nobody's out here, we're going when she comes out. So don't give them 5 pitches after they've already been in the dugout 2 minutes. It's called keeping the game moving, like Mike said. Okay, thanks.
okay, now we want to go over a little bit how we choose postseason umpires. There's requirements to be eligible for postseason. You need to register with the IGH SAU and pay your fees. You need to watch the rule meeting. And this year you have to watch the rule meeting before you're even allowed to take the test, which is a good thing to make sure that the test is, or the rule meeting is watched, and then the test is taken after that. You need to take and pass the test with a 75% or better. There's 80 total questions and you'll get 50 of those questions. And you need to attend an approved Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union softball clinic once every 3 years. The clinic that you're watching today fulfills your clinic requirement. This is the first year we've tried the online clinic. It seems to be working out very well. We are getting a little better at it each time we do it. Details on how to obtain your credit will be given at the end of this presentation. Some of the things we look at for postseason selection, here's some things that we don't want to see that you do, whether it's regular season or even off season. Don't post on any type of social media about games or umpires or coaches, players or schools or anything like that. I mean, believe it or not, people forward that stuff to me, and it's not going to be good, because once you put it on social media, it's out there forever. Do not post any videos on YouTube, bashing a coach or a player or even another umpire, which is not a good idea. There are some closed groups on like Facebook and Twitter where for Federation High School, where they discuss play situations. And these are okay because it's not open to the normal public. You have to be an official to belong to these. And these are okay to discuss things on, but respect the rules that they have there too. Most of them will take down your posts if you start, being smart aleck to another umpire or bashing them or, doing anything disrespectful. We do have an Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union Facebook page for all officials in all sports. And I occasionally post some referee.com articles on there about officiating. Some of them pretty good reads. Some are about officiating in general. Some of them are about softball. Some of them are about handling coaches. So, but there's some good things to read on there. Again, a lot of these social media things get forwarded to me, and that will hinder your progress to go through postseason. I guarantee it. Umpires always learn from your mistakes. Okay, I learned from somebody else's mistakes. That's why we tell stories to each other. So if you recognize an umpire in a video that's illustrating a mistake, rather than disparage him or her, realize that the video may well prevent others, including ourselves, from making the same mistake. You make a mistake in a game a long time ago. I let an illegal substitution come in. I didn't check my lineups closely enough. I had to eject that player. And yes, it was the coach's fault, but I could have prevented that. So I learned from that mistake. I've never done it since. My lineup card is immaculate. Everybody that sees my lineup card when it's done can recreate the game from how I write it on the lineup card. So that's an example of learning from your own mistakes. When you umpire a game, you become, for practical purposes, part of the public domain. The pictures of you can be used in the newspaper, on websites, on YouTube, and so forth, as long as no money is being made from their use. So if the school takes pictures or a parent takes pictures, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. Okay. Next. If you wish to work postseason, there's some other information that we as advisors and assigners for the postseason that we need to know. First of all, do you even really wish to work postseason? There's a lot of times where umpires, they like to work in May and June and even part of July, but middle part of July, it gets really hot and they said, I don't want to work any more games. Let us know. If you don't want to work postseason, just send us an email or call one of the evaluators. We're going to try to send out a questionnaire. We're working on that now. Another thing we need to know, which schools would be a conflict of interest for you to umpire? And let's say I can't work anybody in Cedar Rapids. Well, Cedar Rapids has lots of schools. So be specific. If you teach at Cedar Rapids, Washington, and yes, I won't put you on a game, or any of the advisors won't put you on a game with Cedar Rapids, Washington. But that doesn't mean we couldn't put you on Cedar Rapids, Xavier, or Jefferson, or Kennedy, or any of the other schools that are up and around that area. Do you teach at a particular school? Did you used to teach at a school? Were you an athletic director there? Were you administrator there? Do you have daughters, nieces on softball teams? You probably shouldn't work those games. It's just, there's plenty of games to work. We can always put you on another game. So, but those are the things that we need to know. One of the other things we're going to try to ask you in a questionnaire is, who is your regular partner? Postseason is only usually one game a night, and sometimes we'll put you in a car with your partner if you have to travel a little bit longer distance. The other questions we need to know, how many varsity games did you work this season? So if there's a minimum requirement, I believe it's 12, Craig?
Yeah, that's what we
It's 12, okay? The teams can play up to 40 games, and you have to work 12. Now, if you're at least scheduled for 12 varsity games, then tell us that you've scheduled varsity games. If one of them was rained out, there's nothing you can do about it. At least you were scheduled for 12 games. Now, a lot of the metro areas have double headers, so it's really easy to get 12 games in the first 3 weeks. But those of you in other areas that have a JV varsity game, you may not get 12 games until the middle of the season. But 12 varsity games is what we're after. Okay, we want you to have some experience in the varsity level before we put you into the postseason. Next, okay. So another thing that we do for postseason is we have 5 advisors, and I'll make sure you know all their names and what areas they're responsible for. They recommend umpires to me for the state tournament. Okay, we look at the coaches' recommendations for these people that are recommended to me, and we look at evaluations that have happened in the past year or so. This is a group effort between advisors, evaluators, and coaches. Okay, I may add an at-large or two that doesn't come on a recommended list. We will represent a balance of gender, race, ethnicity, and geographic location. So not all of our umpires are going to come out of the metro areas. They're not all going to come out of the Des Moines area or Cedar Rapids or anything. We're going to pick people from all over the state. When we assemble state crews, we place the crews together, and you may not be with your regular partner at state, but a lot of times we'll bring an umpire up there for the first time. Now they're good enough to be at the state tournament, so they belong there, but it's a different atmosphere at the state tournament. So things are really, really intense there. So we try to put a new person in a game with a couple of experienced people that have been there for a couple of years. And we try to let them learn from each other. Okay, this is the best way we can learn, is talking to each other. In the past 4 years, we've brought over 25 new umpires to state, and that number may be higher. That's all I remembered counting. But our umpire group is getting a little older. People are retiring. Some people opted out because of COVID. Maybe they're back this year, maybe they're not. But we need postseason umpires to be eligible. We again thank you for being a part of this clinic because this is part of the requirement for you to be postseason eligible. We have a spot for you in the postseason. Okay, do we have any more questions, Craig?
Just a couple, just to close it up. We've had about 270 people attend these 3 clinics. That's outstanding. We have never gotten that kind of number with in-person clinics. So 270 is great. We need people to want to work the tournaments. So if we have 270 that have watched this, pass the test and watch the rules meeting, you're tournament eligible. Get your name in there and give it a go. It's 1 game a night. You pay mileage. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that if you're working all season, 2 games and all that good stuff. So give us a shot when it comes time for tournaments. Because if we got 270 here and we need once every 3 years and we got another 90 that didn't have to watch, that's like 360. Last year we had a pool of about 250 and that wasn't enough. So give us a shot. Just to close, I thank you for umpiring, and softball is probably the toughest thing to umpire in that it's a ball or a strike, it's fair or foul, it's out and safe. You don't get many chances to pass. You have to make a decision on every pitch. So wish you the best of luck. Have a great year, and thanks for watching tonight.
I want to thank all the presenters tonight, and I want to go over a little bit about where they're responsible for. Thank you, Jason, for running the meeting tonight. He is the softball administrator. I'm the officials coordinator, and I will be working with the Central Iowa metro area evaluations this year. Our other regional advisors and evaluators are Tom Berger, and he covers Northeast Iowa. Craig Snyder covers Northwest Iowa. Mike Crozier helps cover North Iowa. He may come down central here and help me a little bit too. We'll see. Pat Pasha covers Southeast Iowa, and Jim Doyle is Southwest Iowa. If you have any questions, you may call me. Here's my phone number. My email is pretty easy. It's kathy@ighsau.org. The advisors can answer any questions too. I'm not a rules guru, but together as a group, we can answer almost any question that you have, okay? So from that, thank you again for attending, and stay on because Jason's going to tell you how to get credit for this clinic.
All right, thank you, Kathy, and thanks again to all our panelists. Appreciate everyone coming out to visit or to watch the room meeting today. And now we want to make sure that you get credit for watching it. So, and I'm going to walk you through this, but I'll tell you how to go to this first. To get credit, you go to our website, which is www.ighsau.org. On our website, you'll see a Coaches and Administrator tab. You'll click on that, and then you'll find softball and click on the softball. You'll scroll down to the documents and forms, and you'll click on, actually, it'll be say May 3rd clinic attendance. You'll fill out the information on the form. You'll be asked for the meeting password. The password for tonight's meeting is May 3. So what I will do now is click out of this, and I will walk you through that. Just a second here. And I will get there. Okay. Okay, so to get credit, this is our website, ighsau.org. Once you get there, click on Coaches and Administrators. You'll see this will pop up. Just scroll down until you see softball. Click on softball. Scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see the May 3rd Officials Clinic form. Click on that. And there is a series of questions you'll need to answer. Shouldn't take more than 60 seconds to do so, but at the very end, make sure you put that clinic password. And again, that's May with the number 3. That's what you'll need. And then just click on that. I'll get an email notification and you'll get credit for watching this meeting. So again, want to thank everybody for logging on today to do that. Again, 135 people. That beats our record. Our previous record was 86, I think, on the first night. So appreciate everyone coming out and watching. And again, thanks again, and best of luck to everybody this season. And feel free to get a hold of Kathy if you have any questions, or if you need to get in touch with me, also please feel free to get in touch with me. So with that, we'll close the meeting. And again, thanks very much.
Thank you, panelists. Great job. Gets better as we go along.
Is the confirmation for credit an email from Google Forms?
I'm sorry.
Is the confirmation that they got credit an email from Google Forms?
Well, that confirmation actually comes to me, and then I'll send a list out for Sherry. If they can send an email to me, and if they want to make sure that they got logged in, I can check for them. So, because the email goes to me when I get it.
Do they get anything back tonight?
No, they don't. There's nothing they get back, but it goes to me.
Somebody just asking me.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they want me to check, just have them send me an email, and I'll check it for them if they want to double make sure.
Good job, guys.
Do we need to do this ourselves as well?
You're on there as a panelist, so you got credit. So
Okay.
you guys are fine.
Good for 3 more years.
That's right.
But does he have to go out and fill out the form then too?
No, he's on. I've got they're
Okay.
listed. So
Okay.
no need.
Okay, you'll tell Pat that, Tom?
Yep.
Yeah, I can. Yep, sure.
Okay. Okay, yep.
Well, he was on the first 2 meetings, so he's got credit no matter what already.
Right,
So
okay. Okay, well,
if you
great.
guys don't have anything, I think I'll close up shop.
All right, thanks, guys. Good job.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Good job, guys.